In this video, we're going to take a look at just a couple examples of how to go through multiplying and dividing with scientific notation. So I'm just going to do one example of each just to kind of show you some of the steps written out and the work done that you would do to get your answers for these. So you can apply this to any multiplying or dividing scientific notation problem. So for the first one, we're going to be looking at multiplying. We're multiplying 3.7 times 10 to the negative second by 1.2 times 10 to the third. Now the first thing you want to do is regroup your factors along with your powers of 10. So that means I'm going to take the 3.7 and the 1.2. So remember, whenever we're working with multiplication, we can regroup them however we like, because no matter what order we change them around, we're still following the multiplication. So we're just really using an associative and commutative property here. So it's going to be 3.7 times 1.2, and then I'm going to regroup the powers of 10 together. So it's going to be 10 to the negative second times 10 to the third power. Now, what I want to do is just the multiplication of 3.7 times 1.2, so that's nothing new. We end up with 4.44. And now we're going to combine the powers of 10, which would give us multiplied, which will leave us with multiplying by that power of 10. Now, what happens here, we'll take a little side note, is when we have powers with the same bases, with both 10, and we're multiplying, we actually end up adding the exponents. That's that law of the exponents that we learned about when we're talking about the product of powers. So then we end up adding our exponents, so negative 2 plus 3 gives us an exponent of 1, which really just leaves us with 4.4 times 10 to the first, or times 10. Now, this particular answer would be all finished because we actually have an answer in scientific notation, because the factor is between 1 and 10, 4.44 is between 1 and 10, and we already have everything else set. So I'd be finished. But you do want to check to make sure that your answer is in scientific notation. If when you multiply or divide in your answers and you end up with a number that's not between 1 and 10, then you need to change that in order to make the number between 1 and 10. Alright, so let's look at the division. Again, this one's very similar. What you're going to do is separate the powers of 10 with the factors. So we're going to do 4.64 divided by 2.9, and 10 to the negative fourth divided by 10 to the negative 6. So still the same problem, I just rewrote things based on my properties. Now I'm going to do the division of the factors. So this gives me 1.6 times, and the other power, or the other law of exponents that we looked at, was the quotient of powers. The quotient of powers tells us if we have the same base, 10 and 10, and they're being divided, we can simply subtract the exponents. So it's going to be negative 4 minus a negative 6. Now be careful here because we have those other, we have all these negatives and subtraction. What we're really doing is negative 4 plus a positive 6, which leaves us with a positive 2 for our exponent. So our answer would be times 10 to the second power. And again, this answer is finished because it's in scientific notation. 1.6 is between 1 and 10, so I know that my answer is fine. That's the same type of rule you want to follow for all your multiplying and dividing scientific notation problems.